Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for information on living in Maryland. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 things to do in Frederick, Maryland. And if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that Frederick is my favorite city. I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Maryland, and I work all over the state helping buyers and sellers, but I especially like working in Frederick. So if you're thinking of moving here or visiting Frederick, make sure to subscribe to my channel right now so that you don't miss any of my weekly videos. I update you on the market, on things to do, everything you need to know about living here. So with that, let's get started. All right, so number 10 on the list of things to do in Frederick, Maryland is to shop local. Now, if you're from Maryland, you know that there are tons of chain stores, chain restaurants. You can find them all over, but what's hard to find is a really concentrated area of local shops and local stores, local artists and all that. So Frederick, and specifically downtown Frederick, is great at this. Almost every single storefront you will see in downtown Frederick is a local shop, a local store, a local restaurant, which is so cool. You can walk down Market Street, which is the equivalent to the main street downtown, and find dozens of interesting stores to go into. So I highly recommend it. And if you're gonna visit Maryland and visit Frederick for the day, you have to visit this street and shop local. And if you're living here, you can feel really good knowing that you're helping your neighbors and their local businesses. And coming in at number 9 on the list of things to do is to watch local musicians and eat great food at Alive at 5. Now, this is every Thursday throughout the summer months, and what it is local bands on Carroll Creek, which is gonna come up on our list, by the way. And what they do is it's an outdoor venue where you can watch the local bands. They bring local beer, local food vendors right on Carroll Creek, which is a really cool linear park downtown. And you just get to sit outside and enjoy the time. There's a lot of great musicians in Frederick, Maryland. So Alive at 5 is the way to enjoy that and get out with your family and friends. And that leads us right into number 8 on the list of things to do in Frederick, which is to see a performance at the Weinberg Center for the Arts, which is also called the Weinberg Theater. This is a classical theater right downtown in Frederick where you can see live performances, you can see musicals, plays, you can also see the live musicians we just talked about. It's just a really cool venue to check out, and it really starts to ramp up with its play card in the winter time and the holiday time. So make sure if you're in town to check out their schedule so that you can see who's performing, and if you want to pop in and check out the Weinberg Center for the Arts. And speaking of history in Frederick, that brings us right into number 7, which is the Monocacy battlefield. For all of you Civil War buffs out there, there is a battlefield just outside of Frederick, just outside of downtown, called the Monocacy battlefield, which is perfectly preserved for visitors. There's even a little museum there that you can check out, and it's run by the National Park Service. It's a really cool place to visit. And if you are visiting the local area, Frederick is rich in Civil War and pre-Civil War history, so make sure to check out all of the local museums. It's kind of like a 7A, 7 bonus. Check out the local museums. You will be very impressed with how much history Frederick has to hold. And I know that not all of you are going to want to watch live shows or go to check out the historical artifacts of Frederick, but you may be a sports buff, and that's where you can go and check out number 6, which is a Frederick Keys game. It is right outside of downtown as well, and it is really cheap to get tickets to go to a Frederick Keys game. And the cool thing is, after every home game, they have fireworks in the stadium. It is a great place to go with friends, family, kids, really anyone. It is an awesome time if you don't want to drive all the way down to Baltimore and go to an Orioles game. And after doing any of these activities, you're going to work up a pretty heavy appetite. So that's what brings us to number 5, which is the restaurant scene in downtown Frederick. If you are visiting or living here, you're going to love the options of all the local restaurants downtown and just outside of downtown. There's over 60 of them. The variety is absolutely insane. There's something for everybody, so make sure you check it out. And if you want specific recommendations, please reach out to me, message me on here, make a comment, and I'd be glad to give you my recommendations of where to go. And after having a great meal downtown, you can go check off number 4 on the list, which is having a drink at the local craft breweries. There are multiple in downtown Frederick, and they are all really good and within walking distance of each other, so you don't even have to have a car. So if you are a craft beer fan, Frederick is the place for you. You have to check them out. And when you're walking from place to place, it's inevitable that you're gonna check off number 3 on the list of things to do in Frederick, and that is to walk on the Carroll Creek Linear Park. And what this is a canal that they've created from a creek that ran through downtown, and they've paved walking paths on either side of this canal. They've planted really cool aquatic plants in the middle. There's bridges over top of it. It is such a scenic walk to go through downtown Frederick this way, and multiple breweries are located right on the canal or right off of the canal, so you're inevitably going to walk on it. So many restaurants are also located there, and most of the downtown Frederick events have some connection to Carroll Creek Linear Park. So make sure you check that off when you are visiting or living in Frederick, and you will not regret it. And speaking of creeks and rivers, that brings us to number 2 on the list of things to do in Frederick, and that is to float or kayak or swim in the Monocacy River, which is just outside of downtown. Now, if you're an outdoors person like myself, I love going to fish and kayak on the river. It is a really fun time. There's actually multiple put in and takeout locations if you want to just tube down the river as well. It's kind of like a lazy river feel, nothing too crazy, no crazy rapids, but it's a fun thing to do in the summer. And throughout the rest of the year, for you avid anglers, you can fish any time of year in the Monocacy River. So make sure you check that out. It is a great thing to do when visiting or living in Frederick. And now that you know I love the outdoors, it should be no surprise that number 1 on the list of things to do in Frederick, Maryland is to hike and bike the Frederick City Watershed. And I know the name doesn't sound all that exciting, but it is actually a great place to go for this, and it's actually one of the number 1 mountain biking destinations in the state of Maryland. There are dozens of trails. They have everything from beginner level to advanced. It is a great time if you love doing either of those activities. And if you are thinking of going mountain biking there, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to show you around. And more importantly, if you are thinking of moving to Frederick or anywhere in Maryland, please reach out to me specifically for that as well. That is what I do for a living. I love helping people move to Maryland, move within Maryland, helping them find their dream home, and getting every last dollar of value out of selling their home. That is my specialty. So my information is listed below. Make sure to reach out to me. That is my cell phone number, so I will respond directly back to you when you reach out. And make sure you watch my video about the pros and cons of living in Frederick. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel so that you stay up to date on all of my videos about living in Maryland.